Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. So this is going to be something that I've never done before, and it's the story of how I met Mark and how we ended up as a couple. So if you would like to find out and you're as nosy as I am then keep watching. So I see a lot of people do story time videos all the time, and I thought that I might make this a regular type of thing every month. So if there's a certain story that you want me to tell, or there is something that I actually think, oh, I'll tell you about that, then I will do. And the reason why I got this idea is because if you follow me on Instagram, you'll already have heard this, and that's the story of Fishgate. And I told it on Instagram stories yesterday, and it had such a good response, and I was merely just letting off steam because we've had so much stress with these fish. But I just thought, oh, I should try and do a video like this every month and like sort of like let you get to know me a bit more, I guess. I asked the other day on Instagram and Facebook whether anyone would be interested in seeing a Q&A type video, because I was a bit stuck of like videos to do aside from like my regulars, and I wanted to sort of mix things up a bit now, like surgery's over for Daisy. And lots of people came out with loads of questions, and thank you so much. But one of the biggest ones was like, how did I meet Mark, how did we get together, that sort of thing. So I thought any that are like repetitively asked for, I would try and do a separate video on them, because obviously there's like a high request for those. So here goes. I hope you're comfy and you've got a brew. I should have got a brew, shouldn't I? Never mind. So we will start at the very beginning, which is a very good place to start, and it all starts back in 2013, and I had just left my old job and started at an agency in Manchester. And I was really nervous because I've worked in my old job ever since I'd left university, and it was a big step. Manchester felt like a really big place to work at, and I had to commute and stuff. And I started, and I realised once I got there that like a couple of people had started just before me, so it made me feel less afraid really, and less like nervous. And one of them was Mark, and I remember on my first day I went for lunch with some of the people from work, and there were 3 girls, and then Mark came along, and he knows this, he won't mind, but I honestly thought that he could possibly be gay in that moment, which was fine with me, I'm not asked about that. But I just thought like, oh, he's hanging out with like all the girls, not going out with the lads, and I didn't really understand. But obviously like looking back, he was new as well. So I think he just like sort of did whatever in that like space of time. And I remember like just sort of having lunch with everyone out at this like little like bar place in Manchester, and thinking, oh, this is really nice, they're dead friendly, this is good. And I'll be honest, like I saw Mark and I thought he was good looking, but because like my gaydar was out and obviously really off, I didn't really think anything of it. And I, at the time, was in a relationship with Bill's dad, and we'd been together for a very, very long time. We met at university, so I wasn't on the market at all. And you know, when you like see someone, you're like, oh yeah, they're a handsome person, she's a pretty girl. It was that kind of thing. And then a few months passed, and I was just getting into work, and obviously my relationship with Bill's dad was deteriorating at the time. We'd been together for a very long time, and we started out as teenagers and we'd grown into adults, and we experienced a surprise pregnancy that resulted in our gorgeous boy. And it just became quite obvious to both of us, although neither of us said it, that things weren't working anymore. And I found work at the time quite the escape. Me and Bill's dad worked different hours anyway, so a lot of the time work would be my only interaction with like other people my age. And I spent a lot of my time on my own with William, and his dad spent a lot of his time on his own with William, and it wasn't working. And work had gone really well for me. I'd made loads of friends. It was like a gorgeous environment to work in. We were doing some brilliant work, and I spent every lunchtime going out with all my friends, sitting in the sun. It was really nice, and I just really enjoyed it there. And I'd made friends with all of them, and I had like 2 friends called like Holly and Rachel that I was so close to, and I absolutely loved them. And then Mark had become a really good friend as well, because we had so much in common, and it was actually really nice because I got on really well with blokes. house, and it was nice to have a lad friend again. And we were like chalk and cheese. Mark would be going out every weekend with his mates and like wooing the ladies and, you know, going on what he calls beanos, which are like lads holidays and stuff, and I was going home and playing with my like 12-month-old, my 1-year-old at the time. And it was nice though, because he kept me, I lived vicariously through him in a way. Like, he kept me updated with life on the other side, and I think that he learned a lot from me at the same time, if that makes sense. Like, we just got on really well. And there were a few instances with me and Mark where we like couldn't stop laughing as well, because our boss Ed was like, you know, you two are so weird. Every time I do the like wages for the month, it's so weird because I've got like Taylor and Taylor, because we're both like, we're Charlotte Taylor and Mark Taylor, but we're not married, and you both live on a road with the same name. It's like, it's so weird. And we also found out that we both went to the same university, that we never met, and we both worked in the same building, but we never met. So we must have been like passing shits. We must have seen each other on nights out and not even recognised. Like, he is in the year above me, just because he's born on the 31st of August, but he took a year out before university. So we were at uni, I think, at the same time, which is just crazy really when you think about it. But we never met, our paths never crossed, and we started to like make a joke of that, and like we would be called in the office like brother and sister, and that was like just the way it was, and it was just such a nice friendship. And meanwhile at home I was really unhappy, and at one point I had a conversation with Bill's dad that sort of led to the fact that he admitted that he didn't really have those sort of feelings anymore, but he thought maybe we should try for William's sake. And it occurred to me when he said that I didn't actually feel pain the way I thought I would if somebody said that to me when I'm in a relationship with him. And I realised that it had run its course, and we ended up splitting on Boxing Day, which is very last Christmas of us, isn't it? And we went our separate ways, and I was in a really bad way then. It wasn't that I was broken-hearted, it was just that my family had fallen apart. My little boy, he didn't have a mum and dad that loved each other anymore, that lived together. He didn't have that family unit, and I was devastated. And one of the first people to sort of come through for me was Mark. And I remember walking on Boxing Day to go and tell my family, and I was so terrified that they were going to be really disappointed with me. And I've messaged like my friends and been like, oh my god, like I've split up from Bill's dad and I don't know what I'm going to do, this is awful, it's Christmas and it's terrible. And Mark replied right away, and he was like, right, just take, I remember him saying, take big whale breaths. He ran me up, he was like, just take whale breaths, just breathe, you're going to be fine, they're your family and they love you. And he was amazing. I really, like, I owed him one that day, I really did. And time passed, and everything, because the dust had settled so quickly, because there was no falling out of love to happen, there was no pain or grieving to take place, it just sort of settled, and the split was very clean. And it was then that I started to sort of think about like what my life was going to be now, and I was very accepting of the fact that I was probably going to be a single mother forever, and it would just be me and Bill. And Mark completely surprised me by telling me that he had feelings for me, and that it was much more than friendship for him. And I realised, once all of that is settled, that actually this person was the closest I've ever found to like my soulmate. And at that time I was still unsure, but there was a lot of like murky waters to swim through initially, because I already had a child to somebody else, and he was this single lad who was going out all the time. We were very different in terms of like where we were at in our lives. And I remember one time when Bill was with his dad, we went into Manchester and we had like a date, and I remember asking for advice off my friends, like what the hell do I do? I've not been on a date for so long, I don't even know if I remember how to kiss properly, and like what do you do, what's the etiquette these days? Like I'm not going on Tinder, so this is like I'm either going on a date with Mark or that's it, I'm off men completely. And we had this really deep chat. Like he booked like this little apartment for us to stay in, because he lived in Preston, I lived like where I live now, and it was quite far and the trains like finished really early for both of us. So we lay on the floor of this apartment place, and we could see Manchester like busy in the evening below us, because it was on like a first floor. There was a big like floor to ceiling window, and you could just see all the cars going past and all the darkness and the lights. And we had a massive heart to heart, which is a huge heart to heart to have very early on in a relationship, and about how he would feel about being like potentially one day a stepdad. And I basically said, look, I'm in for it's all or nothing with me. I'm not having some like, I don't want you know, someone a bit on the side. I don't want just someone to sort of ring up and booty call with, and I'm not interested in, you know, wasting my time on a relationship, because I've got a little boy and he is more important. And Mark was so good about that, and he was so honest about the way he felt. He said like, I'm not sure how I'm going to feel about being sort of second best in a relationship. And I tried to explain at the time, I said like, the love is so different. Like the love for your children doesn't take away from the love that you have for your partner. It's very different. And we took it slow. It was like a very sort of like, it developed on its own. We didn't sort of push it or force it, it just happened. And I fell in love with Mark very quickly, and a few months down the line I remember like we'd woken up one morning, he'd met Bill at that point, and like he would stay over sometime, and we woke up one morning and I looked across to him and I was just watching him sort of sleeping like a total creep, and he opened his eyes and he was like, what? And I was like, oh, nothing. And he went, you love me, don't you? And I was like, oh my god, I went bright red, and I almost cried because I was so embarrassed, because he was right and I can't lie. I'm one of those people that I cannot lie, so I just make a mess of it and clam up, and I'm not very good at it. So you at least always know that I'm being truthful. And I was so embarrassed and mortified because he didn't say it back, and it was really hard. And then one night we were ordering pizza and Bill was in bed, and I was hungry, I was so hungry, and I was like, will you hurry up and pick what you want? And he rolled off the sofa and was like, oh, you're so mean to me. And then I got down the floor and I was like sat on him and I was like, oh, you know I love you really. Like, and I only said it like, I hadn't told him I loved him properly or anything like that. And it was just like a phrase that you say to anyone. And then he was like, yeah, I love you too. And I was like, shut up. Shut up, you don't mean it, it's not funny, shut up. And he was like, no Charlotte, I really do, I love you. And I remember kissing him really hard and like bursting into tears, because I was just so, for someone to tell you that when you're a single mother and you know things have fallen apart and you desperately don't want to be on your own, but you desperately want to do what's right for your child, it's like, it's an amazing gift. A second chance at love is an incredible thing. And well, here we are now. I mean, fast forward to November the 1st and he moved in with us. Fast forward to an amazing year. That following year, 2014, was incredible. 2015 was even better, and it was in 2015 that we actually conceived Daisy, and then she was born on the 21st of April 2016, and we are here now in 2017 going really strong. Sorry, my camera ran out of battery, but yeah, that's essentially our story so far, and hopefully it continues to be written and we add more and more pages to the book of our lives, so to speak. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this story time. Let me know in the comments down below if you'd like any more, or you know, if you're not a fan, then I'd like to know, because obviously I won't do videos like this if you're not going to enjoy them. But yeah, thank you so much for watching as always. I would also appreciate like a thumbs up and a subscribe if you haven't already. It really does mean a lot to me. I'm trying to see if I can get to 10,000 subscribers now, and I feel like I'm getting there, kind of, like hopefully slowly, but slow and steady wins the race and all that. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you soon. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.